Greetings from San Francisco. I'm Kathleen McClung, and I'm the guest editor for the MacGuffin. I'm delighted to be working this year with managing editor Gordon Krupsky and our terrific staff of editors. As you may know, the MacGuffin's a print journal based in Michigan, and we've been publishing 3 issues a year since 1984. We publish a wide range of poetry and prose from both established and emerging writers from across the country and around the world. Each year, a well-known guest judge for our annual poetry contest, the Poet Hunt, selects 1 winner and 2 honorable mentions. I was thrilled to receive an honorable mention from Judge Naomi Shihab Nye in 2017's Poet Hunt. Today, Gordon Krupsky and I are delighted to host our first ever online reading to celebrate work by the judge and the winners of last year's contest, as well as the judge for this year's contest, which is currently open for submissions. We are so proud to publish the winning poems in our current issue, which looks like this. And I hope you'll order a copy and savor the poems later on. We've invited the winners and the judges to read today for about 8 minutes each, and I'm really looking forward to hearing everybody read. First, Gordon is going to give you a few more details about the contest, and then Gordon will introduce each reader. I'm thrilled to have you all here, and I'm so looking forward to everybody's reading. Thanks for joining us, and here's Gordon.
Hey there, I'm Gordon Krupsky, managing editor of the MacGuffin, here today on the wonderful and very empty Sunday campus of Schoolcraft College in Livonia, Michigan. We've been really blessed to be housed here for the last 37 some years now. As far as the poetry contest that we run, the Poet Hunt, this is our 26th contest, so it's really been around for a long time. And it's been a long time since we've done any kind of reading here, and this is really kind of a format change for us. Just so you get an idea, our last poetry reading was recorded on one of these. So it's been kind of a bit. So I'm really excited to be doing this here with our winners and judges past and future today. So a little bit about the Poet Hunt contest before we get started. It runs until June 15th. So there's just about 3 weeks left. Now we're recording today on May 23rd. You can send up to 5 poems with a $15 entry fee. Included with the $15 entry fee gets you a complimentary issue that includes the winners and the judges' comments of that contest. We are accepting work through Submittable as well as through email. You can buy an entry from our campus bookstore. And we're also accepting entries through snail mail. So trying to support our friends at the USPS. And we'll have info in the description on how to get more information about all that, some helpful links, etc. So we're going to start today with a kind of look back at last year's contest, our 2020 Poet Hunt contest, Poet Hunt 25, which was judged by Matthew Olzmann, who's going to start the reading today, followed by his selections from that contest. Matthew's selections were, we have 3 total selections here, 2 honorable mentions and a grand prize winner. The 2 honorable mentions are John Jeffire, whose poem Dogs and Ominous Weapons came in, followed by Rita Schweiss, whose poem Bright Spot took the first honorable mention. And we'll wrap up the Poet Hunt 25 celebration with grand prize winner Vivian Shipley, who received publication along with a $500 grand prize. So first up, we've got Matthew Olzmann here. Matthew Olzmann is the author of 2 collections of poems, Mezzanines, which was selected for the 2011 Kundeman Prize, and Contradictions in the Design. His next book, Constellation Route, is forthcoming from Alice James Books in January 2022. His writing has appeared in Best American Poetry, the Kenyon Review, the New England Review, Brevity, and other places too. He teaches at Dartmouth College and in the MFA program for writers at Warren Wilson College. And Matthew, feel free to take it away.
Hi, thanks for having me. So I'll be reading 3 poems. I'm going to read 2 poems that appeared in the MacGuffin, and then one other poem. This first one is from a book that I'll have out next January, which is a collection of mostly epistolary poems. And this one is from a series that appears in that book of like letters that were written to me by other people. So this was a letter to Matthew Olzmann sent telepathically from a flock of pigeons while surrounding him on a park bench in Detroit, Michigan. You're not going to share that, are you? You're just going to eat that entire sandwich all by yourself, aren't you? Well, congratulations on your new sandwich. A fine purchase, Olzmann. Eating is important. Coincidentally, we'd like to discuss one of today's most critical social issues, food security. We want a simple conversation about sustainability, malnutrition, and fair trade. Quit telling us to go away. You're talking to pigeons, for Christ's sake. Someone might see you. Someone might think you think we're listening to you. We're not listening. We're watching. Go ahead and tell someone that. Say, the pigeons are watching me. See how that works out for you. We just want to talk about pesticides, deforestation, and widespread famine. Let's chat about climate change and wars where hunger is used as a weapon, and how 10 million tons of uneaten crops are destroyed each year. How's that sandwich? It's a BLT? Really? Does the bacon taste like factory farms where animals are castrated without painkillers, then live their lives in sweltering cages in their own shit, unable to even turn around? Just wondering. Looks tasty. You should drop a little bit on the ground for your friends down here. No, we won't just go away. What would that say about us if we remained silent? What does it say about you that you just want to eat your lunch and look at the trees and say things like, what a marvelous day? We think you're underestimating us. Behind our backs, you probably call us rats of the air, flying rats, or rats with wings. You think we're clumsy and simple. Truthfully, we're the most sophisticated beings to wobble through the skies. Your scientists are obsessed with us. In their laboratories, we've shown a fundamental understanding of the nature of time. We can distinguish between cubism and impressionism. We can recognize written languages, guide lost sailors to shore, and diagnose cancers. Because of our profound sense of direction, we've taken flight with little notes attached to us. We've done this for your armies, emperors, post offices, and smugglers. For centuries, we've carried your words over mountain ranges, farmlands, cornfields, wheat fields, lakes, orchards, plateaus, rivers, and the rivers you poisoned, forests and the forests you leveled, the cities you built, and then the ruins of the cities you built. This is called Omphaloskepsis, and it has an epigraph. Quote, "This much is true. Everyone hates a navel gazer," unquote. And that's from Hippocrates, I think. If everyone hates, then everyone fails to recognize obvious splendor. Some things are worthy of gazing, especially this conundrum in the center of the human belly, the space where the universe makes its design known. Consider the shape of the navel, the mystery, the divine entanglement. Here's the gnarled structure of time, tying now to the beginning, the last link to the love that carried us before we were us into the surgical theater where there were many complications. We did not want to arrive on time. We did not trust what the future concealed. As for me, I almost died entering the world. Here's the knot of the cord that held the boat at bay, attached it to the dock and kept it from drifting into and beyond the harbor, into and beyond wave after wave, into and under what coursed through those waves, fins, muscled grief, shipwrecks, drowned sailors, lost cities, scattered coins from nations that no longer exist. And this last one, thank you. This last one is, it's about, well, the last time I ate in a actual restaurant well over a year ago. Like a dish rag soaked in bleach. This new pandemic or the next, or maybe some unknown future contagion might comprehensively scrub any of us from the earth, the way the waitress comprehensively scrubs down the diner's counter 2 seats from me, sprays the surface with Lysol, then wipes everything away again, spotless. It's late February in the first year of the virus. In a month, this place will be closed. In another month, it will no longer exist. But for now, the experts say, wash your hands, all will be fine. So if you should, coughing just once, into the concern of your elbow, sit near me at this counter, then look up to say what's good. I'll say, the coffee is so good, and also the cheeseburger, and you must try the vanilla milkshake. The onion rings, excellent. The jalapeno poppers, exquisite. And here's the sports page, which says a guy just broke the world pole vaulting record, and that is also good. I don't want to ignore peril. I'm not trying to distract from the threat of plague, war, or famine, fate like a meteor whistling toward us. I'm just saying it's good to have lived, even briefly, in a time when one's vocation, one's destiny could be the use of a pole to vault over a different pole, which for me seems bizarre, though less bizarre than other sports such as, let's say, bog snorkeling, cheese rolling, or eel pulling, which was basically tug of war with a live eel and popular in the Netherlands in the 1800s. Any action can become a contest. Any contest is one we'll try to win. The burger I recommended, the world record for competitive burger eating is 32 in 10 minutes flat. Man versus virus is another competition. The odds might not always be in our team's favor. I don't know how much time you or I have left, or if the final buzzer is about to buzz, but I love being here on this strange planet. I love so much sitting here eating lunch and contemplating, while I still can, this specific strangeness, love paying the bill before returning to that strangeness, and how each time when heading for the door, always, if I turn around before exiting, always, if I look at the place where I once was, I see already the rag has rubbed the surface clean. The counter sparkles as if I were never there. Nothing left but shine. Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much, Matthew. I'm craving a BLT right now, actually. So you can actually find Matthew, the first 2 poems I believe that Matthew read in this issue, volume 36.2, which came out last kind of spring, summer. We have a little 3-poem feature of Matthew, kind of just to introduce his work to our readers for last year's contest. And we have a similar feature on Indigo Moor coming up, which I'll mention once we get through Poet Hunt 25 and start talking about our Poet Hunt 26. So next up, we're going to move on to Matthew's selections from Poet Hunt 25. The first of which is John Jeffire, who received 2nd honorable mention for his poem, Dogs and Ominous Weapons. A little bit about John Jeffire. He was born in Detroit. In 2005, his novel Motown Burning was named Grand Prize winner in the Mount Arrowsmith Novel Competition. And in 2007, it won a gold medal for regional fiction in the Independent Publishing Awards. In 2009, Andrea Malacca included Motown Burning in her list of 6 savory novels set in Detroit, along with works by Elmore Leonard, Joyce Carol Oates, and Jeffrey Eugenides. His first book of poetry, Stone and Fist and Brick and Bone, was nominated for a Michigan Notable Book Award in 2009. Former U.S. Poet Laureate Philip Levine, who was also a previous Poet Hunt judge, I might add, called the book a terrific one for our city. His most recent book, Shoveling Snow in a Snowstorm, a poetry chapbook, was published by the Finishing Line Press in 2016. For more on John Jeffire and his work, you can visit writeondetroit.com, and we'll include that link in the description too. John, go for it.
You people never listen. Expect everything handed to you. Always got your hand out, can kiss my ass. Sit around all day doing nothing. Think life's all roses and rainbows. We'll never get it. Started it. Stole the election. Ought to lighten up a little. Could learn a little respect. Couldn't care less. Ain't as smart as you think. Voted for that cunt. Best cover your backside. Should leave if you don't like it. Rape and murder and deal dope. We're never welcome here. Piss down your own legs. brought down the neighborhood, want to let anybody in this country, are convinced I owe you something. Been lucky up till now. Best keep clear of my guns. Better put that damn gun down. Worry about nothing. Think I'm joking? Need to pull your damn pants up. Eat all kind of funky shit. Stink like ass crack, act like assholes, cry like little bitches, look like total faggots, loot and burn everything in sight. Stand back while I kick in your door. Get the hell over it already. Always talking some crazy bullshit. We're never slaves, contribute not one damn thing. Hands on the wheel and show me some ID at the same time. Stand the hell up and don't move. Sit your ass down. Keep your distance. Get your ass over here. Start walking and stand where I can see you. End up dead because you don't listen. Refuse to obey the law. Walk around like you own the place. Created your own damn problem. Come on, try and take it. Blame everybody but yourselves. Come back and go back to wherever the hell you're from. Worship the devil. Forget who pays your paycheck. Bit the hand that feeds you. Disrespect the flag and all it stands for. Support terrorism and socialism and communism and pedophilia. Step in it now. Stay away from my daughter. Are looking for trouble. Ignored all the signs. Hate Jesus. Think you know everything. Lost all sense of decency. Went too far this time. Belong in cages. Screwed the pooch. Breed like rabbits. Live like pigs. Hide like roaches. Fucked it all up. Can't handle the truth. Stank up the joint. Ruined a once great nation. Refused to serve this great country. Only joined the military because you couldn't find a real job. Don't know what a real American is. Got to learn the hard way. Need taught some manners. Know deep down we're right. Can't be trusted. Turned my stomach. Had it coming. Got some damn nerve. Dug your own grave. Did it on purpose. Carjacked freedom. Dragged a shit stain across democracy. Sold out the Constitution. Betrayed the Holy Bible. Killed the American dream. You people been warned. Written on the 6th of January, 2021. Date might ring a bell with a couple people there. I'd like to read two more. This one is, this one's from my wife, who is fought her way off of hospice and continues to fight. What we talk about when we talk about love. Too many ways of looking at a blackbird in the autumn sky, from the dry shadows of the bed from which the sun cannot step. Your whisper flits above. I am free to leave. First, a living will, power of attorney. No machines or tubes. We first discussed this when our hearts beat quick in the raven's glimmer, clatter of wings burst at red clay and live oak, free to go. The wind knows all directions. I wipe feces from crevices my tongue once explored. I scrape uneaten meals from cracked plates. I dig arms under whatever is left to dig under. So many ways of looking at a blackbird thrown in an autumn sky, life alit in the few uncollapsed rivers of your hands. And I consider the offer, freedom, mine from you or yours from me, not clear. Stand with me. Survey the distance. Blanched earth, seedless, scab, stubble, frozen pools, creek frozen in its sheets. The only proof of life, its absence. The bank gives way beneath our feet. I grip the crest of your waist, and one wing between us, we take flight. And this is the poem that appeared in the MacGuffin, Dogs and Ominous Weapons. You want to shut me up? You got to bust my mouth or break my will. One don't think you can do, the other I know you can't. Two pandemics smog my oxygen, both at my throat, both cinch the windpipe, clog the lung, both look at me with blue animal eye. Dogs ain't new, 400 years of dogs and I'm still here, no more places to run. All weapons ominous, rubber bullet, still a bullet, mean the same thing. One kill me straight out, other kill me over time. Torch the fuse that light 1,000 fuses. Both glove your throat, same meat of the neck conclusion. Human life turned hashtag, maybe one day even kill you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. That last poem John read, that was the second honorable mention in our 2020 Poet Hunt contest, judged by Matthew Olzmann, who was our first reader. You can find that poem along with some of the other ones we're about to hear in our latest issue to come out, which is issue 37.1. You can find these online at schoolcraftbooks.com, which is our campus bookstore's website. And of course, you can also contact me and order through the mail too, if you prefer to do it that way. Much quicker to go through the bookstore website though. Next up, we have Rita Schweiss, who took the first honorable mention spot in last year's contest for her poem, Bright Spot. Rita Schweiss grew up in Southwestern Michigan and holds degrees from the University of Michigan and Western Michigan University. For many years, she taught reading at Minneapolis College and currently works as a reserve teacher for the Blake School. She lives with her husband, son, and daughter in one of my favorite towns, St. Paul, Minnesota. Take it away, Rita.
Thank you. So I'm going to start with a poem that appeared in the MacGuffin called Bright Spot. And Bright Spot is a ghazal, which is a Persian form, an old Persian form. And I got turned onto this form by a woman in my writing group. And then I also discovered that Robert Bly is a fan of the form and has written a lot of them. And this being Minnesota, I started reading a lot of his ghazals, and it's a really fun form. It's a forgiving form, and so I'm just going to read it. Bright Spot. I memorized everything, every word they said, and the snow fell on my breakfast bowl every day. Morning was misplaced, like a single coffee cup or a letter left on the nightstand before the break of day. What did the doctor say? They found a bright spot on the baby's heart we would never hold the next day. I came to understand the Morse code of rain, the beat of day, its disappearance, and then another day. Maybe you can help me write it down. I remember so little, but my son gave birth to me long ago on a day just like today. This next poem is called December, and it's written after a poem by Louise Glick called October. It is winter again. It is cold again. Didn't I just slip on the ice? Didn't I heal? Didn't we plant the seeds and they grew into children? Didn't they cry for us each night and we held them between our warm bodies? We were more afraid of the silence, the one who slipped from my body like a pink speckled fish. Didn't the day break again and again? I was so tired, full of milk and half forgotten lullabies. We had a boy and a girl, and the boy had so many questions. Didn't the girl look right into my eyes? Didn't their swings lift them to the sky and they touched it? Now they are teenagers. I understand so little and they explain nothing. Sometimes we pass in the kitchen. But I remember one day in the car when the boy asked, "Mommy, is the sun full of fire?" And I caught sight of him in the rear view, face against the window, his hair fine spun, free. This next poem is told from the perspective of an old field, and it's called A Word from the Old Field. And this is an old poem that I wrote many years ago, but I like to read it in the spring. A word from the old field. The center line of the tractor trail, its green lip, has given itself over at last to the tangled ground vines of wild rose and trumpet creeper, the whole back 40 under the reign of Queen Anne's lace and the velvet-eared common mullen. The last tractor eased out the gate, left the county over half a century ago or more, and since then, my sanity has come and gone with the wind. The neighbors' cows chew steadily at my edges, their gelid eyes beer bottle brown and swimming under half-closed, petal-thin lids. They plant their variegated bodies at the wire fence, their mossy presence unnerving, even to the ungroomed teenagers from the subdivision who come in pairs and sink slowly to the bottom of my depressions. Fuzzy tips of foxtail weed and wild daisy heads nod gently over butterfly bareness of arms and legs. What can I do now? This is my life now. I've gone to seed and beyond. I'm old, untilled, and slow. Some days I drift, disappearing with the satiny hundreds of milkweed strands, and don't return until I'm called. I'm a home now for small, greedy mammals, mostly rabbits and field mice and moles, whose constant burrowing borders on the insane. The soil flies up, lands in accidental patterns, a dark filigree that reveals all the old ruminations. It's information I don't want, especially now that I've let myself go. I say, let it lie. I've been listening for peepers at the pond, waiting for the footfall of Joe Pyeweed, and watching the Sunday papers, all my attention on the one thing that turns, brightening in the shallows. And there's a woman. She's been hopping the fence for weeks. She spreads her quilt in the open and sleeps for hours, her hip rising from the fallow ground, her hands holding all of ruinous April and then some. I think I'm gonna do another guzzle. Like I said, I kind of got into this form. It's a very forgiving form. This is called The Songs We Learned. It's hard to overcome the winter wind and what it reveals. This time, a blue-black grief mumbling in the trees. Spring has come before, but left quickly in a huff of disappointment. Children wait in the trees. I know you don't believe me and never did. Nevertheless, I remain faithful to the trees. When did we lose our beloved animals? What has become of the farm? Listen, everything belongs to the trees. Remember all the songs we learned in school? We were companions then, almost lovers. We sang like trees. Dead friends twisted our beautiful hair into elaborate wreaths. We didn't leave. Listen to the sweetening trees. Plums will rot in the grass and reveal a crude wooden pit, or maybe a secret, a pearl, hundreds of them, like stars in the trees.
Thank you, Rita. If you are watching this and you are also a big fan of guzzles, you might be interested in the issue that we had come out this past fall. We did a big spotlight on form poetry. We have a number of guzzles in there and a number of other forms, some of which were new to me. So you can find that also on schoolcraftbooks.com while you are purchasing an entry to this year's Poet Hunt contest. Next up, we have the winner of the 2020 Poet Hunt contest, Poet Hunt 25, Vivian Shipley. Vivian Shipley is a Connecticut State University distinguished professor. Vivian teaches at Southern Connecticut State University. She was awarded a 2020-2021 Connecticut Office of the Arts Poetry Fellowship, won the 25th Poet Hunt contest that we, the MacGuffin, hosted, and was the Artist's Choice for Rattle's October 2020 Ekphrastic Challenge. Her 13th book, Hindsight 2020, is forthcoming in 2021 from Southern Louisiana University's Louisiana Literature Press. Nominated for the Pulitzer Prize in Archaeology of Days from Negative Capability Press in 2019, was named the 2020-2021 Patterson Poetry Prize finalist and the 2020 Housatonic Book Prize for Poetry finalist. You can find more about Vivian at her website, vivianshipley.net, and we'll post a link to that in the comments as well. Take it away, Vivian.
Thank you, Gordon. I'm going to read my first poem from MacGuffin, which won the Poet Prize, which I'm delighted, very honored to have received. At my age, one of the things that you think a lot about is getting old. And then once you've gotten old, then you think about dying. And what's there to say about dying except you're going to die? And so we need to approach a lot of these issues with some humor, I hope. And so I've tried to include a bit of humor in my poem, No Rehearsal. No rehearsal. Pandemic statistics in the New York Times. People I know are being moved into graveyards, not even taking their southern yawl or flat vowels from the Midwest. Socrates would have me imagine poets as light and winged and holy things. If I wasn't afraid of gray roots showing as wind bonnets my hair, I could feel the freedom of Icarus the moment his wax wings melted. Falling, saw on his back, he was no longer bound by the weight of his dreams. My soul decanted from my body. If I do watch earth recede, will I feel the sadness Icarus must have known as the ground grew closer? I wonder if shoes think about shedding the feet that weigh them as my spirit does, imagining shucking the body in its pain. For me, old woman, leathered apple that won't drop, never spiteful, my generous spirit will prevail. I'll leave behind the recipe Grandma's jam cake I never made, jars of black walnuts I froze from a Howe Valley, Kentucky farm for brown sugar icing. I'll die without a fuss, having bought burial plots, so I won't be a bother. My legacy, years of collecting, will not be stultifying, as August heat is for my 3 sons. I vow to spend this useless time paring down a little at a time. Staffordshire dogs, Halcyon Days boxes, Steinbach nutcrackers, and Audubon sterling. To keep anyone from knowing I used a handicap sign that was not mine, I'll fold secrets like an envelope. No point in trying to rub back youth into my knees. My reflexes are so slow, a gold-beaked sandwich out of my hand. I'm no longer white in my teeth, have learned to accept my drabness, like I do with artichokes, placing them in boiling water to defang leaves, not using lemons that sting, only preserve green. I want my death to be like a sandhill crane, called away to the Arctic by Nebraska, by migration from Nebraska. It does not have to be sorrow of what I'm leaving that will pass away with me. It could be joy of a first-time traveler. What I fear is breath. Living in a ventilator will go on and on, unlike a poem, whose lines I can choose to end. Thank you. The second and last poem that I'll read is from my book, An Archaeology of Days, which was published by Negative Capability. And during the COVID crisis, during the pandemic, many people have turned to baking. And one of the things that they are using a lot is sourdough. Now, like most things in my life, I write about things and I don't do them. So I don't bake. I've become pitiful enough that I prey on my friends. They all drop food off for me, bake things. And so people have been baking so much, they have to get rid of them. And so where can they bring them to? Me. And so, but I have written about sourdough, like I've written about fishing and many other things that I never intend to do. So this is called Sourdough. I just know I can be a good role model. Nothing can be as bad as the bully in 7th grade. not even this, having my sourdough starter die. Resilient, I will not let it become a metaphor, a setback, sure, a part of the journey, but not a career-ending failure. In fact, with sourdough, I had deliberately invited tension into my life, believing as a human, I needed stress as much as bread. Needing it, I take breaks like I do in weightlifting reps. A bit of fermented flour, microbial jumble of bacteria and yeast. Sourdough not only is uplifting, but also gives anything baked a complex tang. No philodendron I can forget to water, or low-maintenance goldfish. Sourdough's health is a reflection of my maturity, ability to take responsibility. My dead starter could have been from, say, a rare bloom of mold, too much time forgotten on the kitchen counter in August. Or what I feared, lethargy, neglect, pure and simple neglect on my part. I see the starter's death as a chance to rethink my life goals and find what truly fulfills my spirit, not just my stomach. I swear, sourdough's demise will not be in vain. It will inspire me to get out of my comfort zone. Maybe not climb Mount Kilimanjaro or run a triathlon, but I might share my secret poetry journal at a slam. I will be an optimist. Sourdough starters are sturdy, can live long, untragic lives, pass from mother to child, and back again. Why, I know one in Brooklyn that celebrated a 60th birthday. I'll get a packet of dry sourdough starter, mix it up, feed once a week with flour, milk, let ferment overnight. But I will not fail to think ahead. Forget to reserve some airy mass for next week, and my high hopes might vanish. There will not be another batch of pancakes as thick and even as a layer of birthday cake to anticipate. I'll even give a part of my starter to everyone I know. Share, don't hoard will be my motto. It ensures survival. If I make rolls, dust with cinnamon sugar, no matter what happens between today and the days ahead, something sweet will be waiting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vivian. I really regret not having more of a lunch before this reading. It's a real mistake on my part. All right, so that wraps up our Poet Hunt 25 portion of today's reading. As a reminder, you can find work by Vivian, Rita, John, and Matthew in this issue right here, Poet Hunt, or excuse me, volume 37.1. Actually, Matthew Olzmann's poems, they're going to be in this one, 36.2. You can find all of these at schoolcraftbooks.com. We'll have a link below. Our next reader is the judge of Poet Hunt 26, Indigo Moor. We have a short feature of 3 of his poems in our newest issue, volume 37.1. Quick reminder on this year's Poet Hunt contest. It's running until June 15th this year. You can send us 5 poems for $15 entry fee. Included in that fee will get you a copy of the issue that has the winning poems in it. We are taking submissions through Submittable. We are taking them through email. All you need to do for that is buy an entry on schoolcraftbooks.com, which I've mentioned a few times now. Purchase an entry fee and then email us your poems. Or if you want to do it the old-fashioned way, feel free to write us a check or throw $15 in the mail, and you can mail everything to our office, and I will personally open it up and get you logged into the contest that way. Our address here, which I'll put below, is Schoolcraft College at 18600 Haggerty Road, Livonia, Michigan, 48152. But like I said, we'll have links to all this below. So like I said, our next reader today is our judge for this year's contest, Indigo Moor, who we're so excited to have. A little bit about Indigo. Indigo is Poet Laureate Emeritus of Sacramento. His fourth book of poetry, Everybody's Jonesing for Something, which is just such a great title, took second place in the University of Nebraska Press's Backwater Prize. Jonesing, a multi-genre work consisting of poetry, short fiction, memoir pieces, and stage plays, was published in spring 2021. Through the Stonecutter's Window won Northwestern University Press's Cave Canem Prize. His first and third books, Taproot and In the Room of Thirsts and Hungers, were both parts of Main Street Rag's Editors Select Poetry Series. Indigo is part of the visiting faculty for Dominican's MFA program, teaching poetry and short fiction. His stage play Live at the Excelsior was a finalist for the Images Theater Playwright Award. The subsequent screenplay was optioned as a full-length film. Indigo is the former poetry editor for the Bookends Review Literary Journal and sits on the advisory board for the Sacramento Poetry Center and the Modesto Stanislaus Poetry Center. He is a Cave Canem Fellow, a former resident artist at 916 Inc., and a graduate member of the Artists Residency Institute for Teaching Artists. A 10-year veteran of the U.S. Navy and a twice decorated Gulf War veteran, Indigo divides his time between writing, teaching, and integrated circuit layout design for computer companies. And with that, take it away.
Thank you, Gordon. It's wonderful to be here, and I feel honored to be judging this contest. I'm so looking forward to receiving some of the entries. I'm going to read two somewhat newer poems, and then I'm going to finish with a poem from the newest issue of the MacGuffin. Ode to the Praying Mantis's Daughter. Oh, how proud you must be. The temple monks tilt their heads to genuflection, and genuflection to your mother, who only raises curved scimitars to greetings each morning in the garden of no earthly delights. When you ask her about your father, are you surprised by her silence? The grenade of potential violence in her unlovely eyes. You and your 20 siblings ride her back like chaff on the farmer's lodestone. You will worship long after autumn calls her to a hush, to her stilted gait already mimics. Today, she is still stately, the juggernaut of the high grass, the man of war of the low twig fields, last Valkyrie of the hidden battlegrounds. O little goddess of no mercies, each of your brothers avert their eyes when, driven by some primal prescience, your gaze turns their way. How black was that flower? Sorry, my computer decided to go down its own pages. How black was that flower? What did tussling boys know of the hue light drapes on summer petals? Barefoot, we stomped them into Carolina dirt, peppered with sharecropper dreams. Each blade of grass was football shaded to us. It ground into our faces and lips. How do I convince you they all tasted like laughter? My aunt says she could tell me, but she'd be lying. Magnolias were mint julep colored, saturation of streets too bright to bike through. Roses carried grave tinging like catfish in a hawk's talon. Lilies, they were the undertone of my grandmother's white gloved hands on Sunday. I'm a 57-year-old child. Hydra-brained, losing two thoughts for every one I gain. Ask me of the flowers on my uncle's casket. I was 5, but I think they were 0 colored. They spun like maple cactus seeds down into a hole too bright for me to fathom. And I will finish with Creole Rumspringa. I'm sure most of us have an idea of what Rumspringa is, even if we don't rightly remember exactly. It's an Amish word, or maybe it's not that word, but it's a term used for their somewhat rite of passage when they are transitioning from children to adults. And they have an opportunity to spend life briefly outside of the Amish community, even though in reality they're still in the same place. And they get to see what the world outside of their normal, strict environment is like, and get to choose whether or not they will actually stay there. Nothing like that has ever happened to me. I'm not exactly Amish, but I went through something very similar with a Creole family. Creole Rumspringa. I never thanked you for your black heart, for bucking your paperback friends, for bumping thighs with me to Sugar Hill. The funk I gave, you took. My blackness sustained on your high yellow dinner table. Thank you for slipping me the right fork for the salad. When the crow swooped, your daddy drew a lead hole through its heart, then looked at me like a wish he forgot to make. Remember your hallway to 5 bedrooms? For 3 people, damn. That's still dizzying. A solid oak room waiting to be filled, a vacuum for unwritten laughter. Sorry, I wore tattered dress Converse to your party. Your mother's unbroken rhythm of tisks and condescension still rankle my ass. Your uncle asked me where my father went to school. My teeth ground unspun glass. Incognito. I get that joke now. You called me Invisible Man, and all I could think was Claude Rains. Never dreaming you'd want to slap the country grin out of my mouth, strain out my black and ugly. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Indigo, for your beautiful poems. I have the great pleasure of knowing Indigo here in California, and I'm just thrilled that Indigo is part of the MacGuffin and judging Poet Hunt for the coming year. Thanks again, Indigo. Thank you to Matthew Olzmann for judging Poet Hunt for last year. Thank you, Matthew, for your reading today. Fantastic. And thank you for selecting these amazing poets. Wow, I am really in awe of your selections. Thank you very much to John Jeffire. You gave a great reading, really powerful reading. Thank you to Rita Schweiss for your reading, which is very moving. And I love those guzzles. Thank you. Thank you very much. And to Vivian Shipley, who I have admired from afar and now get to admire on Zoom. Thank you for sharing your beautiful poems. And you've given me a lot of inspiration because there's a lot of things I have not done that now I can write poems about. I'm going to be writing poems for years to come. So thank you for your great reading today. And I also want to thank very much Gordon Krupsky, who is a complete delight to work with at the MacGuffin, in and out meetings on Zoom. I've had the pleasure of meeting Gordon in person. We met at AWP when it was still live. So thank you, Gordon. You're just a wonderful colleague, and I really appreciate all that you do for the MacGuffin. And And by the way, Gordon has been managing editor at the MacGuffin for 10 years. So he really knows his thing. So thank you very much, Gordon. Thank you all for watching our reading today. I hope you will share this reading widely with friends and colleagues. I hope you will enter the Poet Hunt for this year. You have until June 15th. And please get copies of the MacGuffin and share them widely. Thanks again to all of you for your beautiful poetry. It was just a joy to listen to everybody. So with that, I think we will turn off our recording and maybe we can chat with each other informally for just a few minutes. Thanks, Gordon, for recording.
For more information on the MacGuffin, a publication of Schoolcraft College, visit us online at schoolcraft.edu/MacGuffin. Here you can learn about how to enter this year's poetry contest, Poet Hunt 26. The contest runs until June 15th. Entries are accepted through Submittable, through email, via an entry on our Schoolcraft Bookstore website, and through the mail. Schoolcraftbooks.com, the official website of the Schoolcraft Bookstore, is your one-stop shop for all things MacGuffin. Just navigate via the Shop tab, and here you will find subscriptions, single issues, and the ever-popular mystery back issue.